you. Dance for joy or lust or anger, and every time you haven't got it right, you're one of us. Do you know?
Welcome to Sensible Secondhand Reviews, a series which we do when we want to look at cars that you can buy for between £1,000 and £5,000. This is a 2017 Ford Focus 1 litre Zetec Edition with the 125 brake horsepower engine. But is it any good? Should you care? Let's find out, shall we? So the Mark III Focus was launched in 2011 and it continued the very successful lineage left behind by the Mark I and Mark II Focus. We've had plenty of Mark I and Mark II Focuses actually on this channel before. This is a 2017 car, so it's after the facelift that occurred in 2014. And this has the infamous 1 litre EcoBoost engine, known by some as the EcoBoom engine, due to its propensity to, have some problems. And this one generates 125 horsepower. Other options for this engine were a 100 horsepower version and also a 138 brake horsepower engine in some very, very late models. When this car was first launched, though, in 2011, the basic engine was a 1.6. Now that came in 3 different flavours. It was the TIVCT version of the engine, and that traces its lineage back to 1995 and the Mark IV Ford Fiesta, when that engine was launched in 1.2 and 5 and later 1.4 forms. In the Mark III Focus, it generated either 85, 105 or 125 horsepower. There was also a 1.6 which was called the EcoBoom. That was a different EcoBoom from this one. That generated in its turbocharged form 147 or 179 horsepower. It's a gasoline direct injection engine. Now, the 1.5 then came in a little bit later on, and that replaced the sort of more powerful 1.6s, and that has again 147 horsepower or 182 horsepower in the higher end ones. Then you get to the really crazy Mark III Focuses, the ST with 252 horsepower and the RS with 350 horsepower. There are also some diesels available, but as usual, due to controversial government legislation and all kinds of other reasons, we don't talk about diesels on this channel. I do apologise for the background noise, viewers. This is one of the best places to film around here, though. So, quite a late Mark III Focus. You can see the front end has what they used to call the Aston Martin style grille on it. I think this does look better than the pre-facelift ones, but you may disagree. The reason we call this Sensible Secondhand Reviews the pre-preparation edition is because this car literally came in last night to Langley Prestige, who very kindly supplied it to me today for review as a part exchange. It's not been altered at all. It's dirty, it's got this damage on the front of it, the interior is filthy, but I've wanted to do a Mark III Focus on the channel for some time. I've done all the other types of Focus, Mark I, Mark II and the Mark IV, and the Mark IV is likely to be the last Focus that we'll actually ever see, I think. So I thought we'd fill the gap in, and you get to see what car looks like before it's prepped. And yeah, I think Simon, who supplied many cars to the channel over the course of a long time, will have a bit of work to do on this to bring it up to standard. So yes, we're in Chelmsford today, and Essex plate, of course. That doesn't mean it's registered by Ford or anything. It just means probably it's originally come from a local dealership. It's got a used car dealer plate on it already, so it's already been through a couple of hands, this car. Nicely parking sensible Zetec Edition. I prefer a titanium model myself, that's just my persuasion, but there we go. We see the infamous EcoBoost thing on the back. This car has actually had a replacement engine. It's just had one, so I'm afraid the stories about these engines are completely true. This one will be okay now, not to have the replacement engine. So we open up the fuel flap. There's something interesting. I don't normally open fuel flaps on reviews, but you can see there we've actually got an easy fuel system. There is no fuel filler flap. You just put that in. It also prevent you from putting the forbidden fuel in here, which of course we don't mention on this channel, do we, viewers? So yeah, no reversing camera on this. There's a little diagram on the dash when you back up though, to sort of remind you what you're doing. Oh my goodness me, yes, pre-preparation edition, viewers. Oh dear me. Oh, we've actually got a space saver spare wheel, fantastic. Boot is quite a lot smaller on this car than say a Mark 7.5 Golf, which would have been competing against this, and we've done one of those on the channel many years ago. 2019 I think it was, so it's 4 years ago we actually did that. It's taken a while for us to actually get around to doing the Golf's main rival, I suppose, in this country. Very popular car, still comfortably in the top 10 in the best-selling new cars, even last month. So we'll have a look in here, see what the space is like in the back. Yeah, it's not actually that good. And oh my gosh, this isn't the base model. We've still got wide new windows in the back. That's not very good views, is it? That's why we want a titanium. Hard plastic door tops, but then again the Mark 7.5 Golf's got those as well. No surprise. No rear armrest, of course. Yeah, it needs a clean in here, doesn't it? Yeah, I'm sure Simon will sort that out. Well, there's not even anything in there at all. There's no little tray for sweet wrappers or nothing. It's all right. It's not the most cramped car. You know, there's enough room for me. I'm only 5'11", but I'm not very tall. And there's a massive door pocket there. Again, it's not particularly luxurious fitting because the only bit of fabric is just there. So it's just one big hard plastic door card. But again, if you look at something like an Astra J that was on sale, you know, for about 4 years at the beginning of the life of this Mark III Focus, then that's kind of the same as well. At least you've got some matte pockets at the back of the seat, so that's good to see. And we've got a courtesy light. Excellent. Other than that, there's not a lot to say. It looks like there's sort of bits missing in here almost. There's other features and things that aren't here. There's no sunroof or anything, but I'm really happy in this car. We've got a nice bright headliner because it makes it so much lighter than the ST Line X Mark IV Focus that I filmed on the channel last year. Just a little bit dark in there, but this is better. The upholstery is quite nice, I suppose. Again, it needs a clean, but it's okay. Let's have a look in the front. Okay. As you can see, we've only got 2 electric windows. Door locking button is there. We've got electric mirrors. I don't think they fold or anything though. Normal key, which is brilliant, and a normal handbrake. Wow, we're doing well, viewers. I like normal keys and I like normal handbrakes. I suspect most of you do as well. Some of you obviously will want keyless entry and an electronic handbrake, and it was, I think, available on these two. And we've got normal dials. Good. And just some normal controls. They're not in the touchscreen or anything like that, and that's sort of become a fashion about the time that this car was made, about 2017. People were putting the controls in the touchscreen, but this is okay. Yeah, we've got some sliding action here for putting bottles and cups and things. That's a very handy idea, actually. You want to vary the size of what you're putting in there. Very good. Auto stop start on this car. There's the USB port there, and a 12-volt socket. even that feels quite nice. That feels quite nicely damped, actually. I'm surprised about that. Yeah. Oh, got another USB port in here, and another 12-volt socket. That's not bad, actually. Yes, it's a nice level of equipment. It's very strange about the lack of electric rear windows, but you know, you can't have everything, can you? What we do have is the famous Ford heated front screen. That was, I think, a patented feature on cars until about 2012, from what I remember. And then other manufacturers started to use it subsequently. Have we got a soft touch dash? Yeah, we have it. It feels a bit basic in here because it's, I think it's one up from the bottom of the Zetec Edition, but it's all right. There's tons of other trim levels. There's way too many trim levels, really, to sort of go through. But it would lift it a bit to have some of these sort of bright accents on the air vents over here, but we don't, and we don't have auto lights. We don't have auto wipers. We do have sat nav though for some reason. I'll show that in a second. I'll have to change hands and start the car, but we can see that. We don't have any sort of map lights in the front as well. That's a bit weird, isn't it? It's strange. Do we have lights in here? No. Ooh, yeah. Free preparation edition, viewers. It's all good fun. Yeah, it's a nice big door bender. That's pretty good, isn't it? And then that side we've got the same. We've got a little funny insert there, which presumably on left-hand drive models would be for all the electric windows, but of course we've only got one, so that's all you get. Right, let me just pause this until we can have a look at the infotainment system. Okay, unit only gives guidance. Guidance on what, I wonder? So audio is off, that's good. We don't have any copyright infringement on this channel. Yeah, there we are. We're just outside Chelmsford. So what stuff can we do here? Audio. Oh gosh, no, turn that off. Oh, we got DAB. Well, that's good, isn't it, viewers? Sources. What other sources can we have? I'd like barbecue. Right. Yeah, CD, Bluetooth audio. One thing that's not in this car, which a lot of cars at this time would have had an aux in, but it doesn't really matter. You don't need that if you've got Bluetooth streaming for your phone, do you? Phone, yeah, pair phone. Simple enough. Navigation. Yep, that's good to have that. I think this is called the Ford Sync 3 system in this car, but I could be wrong. Mobile apps. What mobile apps would those be? Does that mean you can get Android or Apple CarPlay? I'm not actually sure you can. So, yeah, that's one of those things. There goes, nice, simple, just air conditioning, no climate control. A lot of you will find that pleasing. I personally do as well. Let's have a look at the glove box. I wonder if my secret mission documents are going to go in. Oh no! Oh, it's so close, viewers. Yes, yes. That is thoroughly satisfying. Although it almost got caught on the ledge there. So look at the instrument cluster here. Trip computer. I think these are the controls to control for it. The MPG's not very good, is it, viewers? It's not very good at all. I'd be sort of wanting, if it was just my car, like in excess of sort of 45-50 miles per gallon in a 1 litre 3-cylinder car. But what I gather with these, and I've got a viewer I think has one of these, it's in eco mode. They just don't get anywhere near the fuel economy that you're supposed to, which is mildly disappointing, I think. I would say. Yeah, trip computer 1, trip computer 2, information. There's not an awful lot in here, is there, really, viewers? It's quite a basic car. Oh yes, Ford My Key. If you have other keys, you can limit the horsepower and the stereo volume and things like that. That's quite handy. We haven't got one. I don't know how many keys this car actually comes with. We've got one here, but it's a trade-in. Who knows? So we've got the cruise control as well here. That's nice to see on one of these, and alloy wheels. It's not quite as stripped out as the earlier Focuses would have been as a base model. I think the base one on this would be Studio, and then this is Zetec Edition, so it's like a sort of upper level Zetec, which is the second one up. Indicators are quite satisfying. I think maybe though, Volkswagen Golf has a slightly nicer indicator store, but that's really me being very, very, very picky. Okay, let's go and have a look at the infamous EcoBoost or EcoBoom engine. So this is either a like exchange or rebuilt or brand new engine. A lot of these Mark III Focuses and I suppose the Mark 7 and 8 Fiestas are now having these engines put in because they do fail, and you've got to watch it. We'll go over some of the other issues with the Mark III Focus in a little while. So, coolant reservoir, it's been around for a long time on Fords. A lot of things are very clearly marked in yellow. Ford was one of the first manufacturers actually to do this at any kind of great level, so people could see what was going on. Realise the vast majority of people who drive these cars are not mechanics. Even that sort of yellow thing for the bonnet release is very good, because I spend my time making these videos fumbling around everywhere for bonnet releases, so that's very handy to see. Although it's not like the very old Focuses where you used to put the key in and turn to open the bonnet. That was abandoned some time ago. But yes, there we go. I think it's time to go out for another drive first, though, viewers. Lloyd Consulting stickers, t-shirts and mugs are available by clicking the link to the Google form in the video description below. Right, let's take this back to the dealership, shall we? So 0 to 60 in this car is about 11 seconds. Might try a bit of acceleration now. There we go. It makes a sort of pleasing 3-cylinder noise. Not quite as nice as the 1 litre TSI engines you get in Volkswagen Group models, but this car is actually really refined. It's got a very nice ride. The steering's not quite as sharp as it might be in something like a Mark I Focus, but it's not too bad actually. For I think it's an electrical setup rather than a hydraulic one, and it to be honest, it's absolutely fine. Brakes feel good. There's no sort of juddering or anything in these. Is this car better to drive than a Mark 7.5 Golf? To be honest, it's been so long since I've driven one of those. I am due to drive a 1.4 Golf sports van or SV, which is on the same platform later on, so maybe, you know, I'll be able to sort of compare the two. But this feels nice. The gearbox is very nice, always a Ford thing. It just rides very well. Steering's quite accurate through an electric system. Yeah, there's no real surprises in this. It's not the most exciting car that I've ever driven, not in this form. I mean, if you had a 252 horsepower 2 litre ST or the 2.3 350 horsepower RS, then that would be exciting, wouldn't it, viewers? And there are plenty more powerful engines than this 125, but for most people this will be absolutely fine. Just a very pleasant, relaxing car. The driving position's good. I can see why so many people bought these. Let's now look at some Mark III Focus trim levels here, at least the ones that were in this country. So the obviously the RS and the crazy ST. I think the ST was available in the 1, 2, or 3. The Edge, the Edition, it's really confusing because some of these trim levels are also like Red Edition or Zetec Edition. But there's also just an Edition. Very confusing. Got the Heritage, the Red Edition, the ST Line, the ST Line Black, the ST Line Red, the ST Line X, the Studio, the Style, the Titanium X, the Titanium Navigator, the Titanium X Navigator, the Zetec Navigator, the Zetec Edition, the Zetec S, the Zetec S Black, and the Zetec S Red. Goodness me, viewers, that's far too many for someone like me. Right, let's just pause the video a second, and I'll just bring up an article from Parker's website written by a friend of the channel, Mike Humble, which talks about some common issues with the Mark III Focus. First thing to look for is creaking windscreens. That's very, very strange, isn't it? Listen out for fake crunching or grouching sounds under spirited cornering. We haven't done too much spirited cornering today, viewers. It tends to be not how I drive, but there we go. Keep your eyes and nostrils open for damp carpet and stale smells. Right, okay, that's for windscreens. Dear me. Yeah. The power shift transmission. This is tends to be mostly automatics. I would not recommend a Ford with the power shift transmission. They are very, very problematic. Mike says here, power shift is troublesome and best avoided. If you do have one, you need to change the transmission fluid every 3 years with a filter. It can still have problems, but that's the best way to deal with it. Some cars can demonstrate creaky front suspension, so it's generally just do with the suspension bushes need replacing. That's not a big problem really on these cars. Steering checks, twirl the wheel from one full lock to another, listening for a clonk or twang noise. I love the way Mike writes. You might be looking at a front coil spring. It's not expensive, but you must change them as a pair. Very good advice, Mike. So there are some intricate styling cues on a Mark III Focus that make poor quality repair work very noticeable. Well, we need repairs on this one anyway, don't we? Look around the lamp unit edges, inside the filler flap for signs of repair and overspray. Paint and panel quality was very, very good. Was very good for new. So the rejector question, I think, doesn't look right. Generally, the Focus braking system works in hand. Yeah, this one seems fine, but there's some very poor aftermarket parts there. Look for juddering front discs and grumbling rear pads. Make sure the road test features some high-speed driving to induce the aforementioned problems. Electrical. Some models can show signs of a charging issue. Sitting the car, the interior light on, and edging idling. If the interior light seems to pulsate or flicker, we turn on the headlamps or heated screen, the alternator's going up. The Focus can be misdiagnosed for a wheel bearing issue. It's caused by low quality tyres. If you notice any humming noises below 70 miles an hour come from the back, check with the tyre brand or the inside edge of the rear tyres if they feel lumpy or edged. Clutch and gearbox. Walk away from vehicles with a stiff gear change. This one's absolutely fine, actually. Early 1 litre cars had quality problems with components, causing failure in some cases below 10,000 miles. They absolutely did. Also, this is for a rattling noise when switching off, indicating a failing dual mass flywheel. Yeah, some of you will know that a lot of mechanics hate dual mass flywheels. I kind of sometimes need dual mass flywheels because my driving's not particularly good, but there we go. The EcoBoost models between 2011 and 2013 had a quality issue with a small plastic coolant pipe known as the degas hose that became subject to a dealer recall. Wow, that has been modified because if it splits, especially at speed, it can leak and potentially destroy the engine. So there we go, viewers. Some advice there from friend of the channel, Mike Humble. So, should you consider a Mark III Ford Focus as a practical and sensible second-hand car for your budget of between £1,000 and £5,000? Well, we've been through a lot of the issues here, viewers. The later cars can also suffer from engine failure. This car has also had a new engine. Maybe just go for the 1.6 if you can. If you want to avoid a lot of these issues. The 1.6 turbo, the GDI one, that can suffer from I think fire and things like that. So yeah, just be a bit careful, but it drives very nicely, even on this relatively low spec model. It's quite well equipped, and there's plenty of choice out there. So thank you ever so much indeed for watching this episode of Sensible Secondhand Reviews. Thank you again to Simon from Langley Prestige for allowing us to drive this car in its pre-prepared state, and we shall see you again soon for more reasonably priced motoring.